everyone, and welcome. My name is Claire Badger, and I'm the Senior Vice President for Asia Pac here at Zalaris. We welcome our Zalaris customers and extended network. It's really great to have you with us today to explore the key themes and trends from the SAP SuccessFactors second half 2025 release. I'm joined today by my amazing consulting hub leads from around the globe at Zalaris. They are our advisory leadership team when it comes to the various specialist areas of SuccessFactors. So I will hand over to them to introduce themselves.
Yeah, I'll start. Hello, my name is Siri. I'm not going to even try with my last name because I'm Norwegian. I'm from the Oslo office. I have been working for Zalaris for about 6 years now, and my areas are in the talent acquisition. So recruiting and onboarding, basically, is what I'm most familiar with.
Yes, hello, my name is Dirk. I'm based in Germany and obviously have some problems with my camera. Sorry for that. I'm consulting hub lead for solution architecture and head of advisory in Germany, and happy to join and try to bring my camera to work.
Thank you, Dirk. My name is Tobias, and I also work from the Nordic. I am working within the talent learning area, and I look very much forward to teach you a little bit about what is coming there today.
Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Neil Worthy. I'm a project manager from the UK.
And hi, everyone. I'm Jessie, based in Singapore. So I am the talent development hub lead. And for me today, I'll be bringing you releases coming from performance and goals, succession, and development module.
Hi everyone, my name is Vivian and I'm located in Stockholm, Sweden. I am mainly the lead consultant for compensation modules in the Nordic countries, and I am happy to walk you through the latest release together with my colleagues.
Hi, my name is Daniel Tofiluk and I'm joining from Poland. I represent Technical Hub, and we deliver custom solutions, portal implementations, and integrations.
Thanks, team. So each release from SAP gives us a glimpse into their direction for the future of digital HR. And this one is no exception. We're seeing SAP, we're seeing HR evolve from process management to intelligent insight, where systems help leaders make smarter, faster decisions using AI and data. In today's session, we're going to unpack the key trends that we see, highlighting the most impactful changes across modules, and we're going to discuss what they mean for you and your organization as you plan for 2026 and beyond. So we're going to kick straight into our first trend. And before I do that, the comments box or the questions box is available. So we'll monitor that throughout and we'll hit your questions in the question time a little later. So we're going to start with our first trend, which is one of the biggest shifts that we're seeing, which is HR is moving from managing data to driving intelligence. There we go. So from HR operations to HR intelligence. Now, Jessie, you want to kick us off on our first trend. What are we seeing in the talent space with regards to this?
Yeah, so actually for this release, we are seeing some really exciting ones for succession and performance and goals. So maybe let me start off with the succession ones, because for succession, it has been sometimes we are saying that for successor planning, it's quite a manual task and it's always quite subjective because often it's up to or dependent on the managers or direct leaders to nominate who would be the right successor. So if we don't have much background of the nominee, then it often appears to be just someone that's picked by the manager. But now with this release, it's available for us to have AI-assisted successor nomination. So with that, the benefit of it is that when we are nominating someone now, or when we use the AI to nominate someone or recommend a successor, it's easier for us to have an overview in terms of the suggested successor skill match, their current roles profile, also their development interests. So there's a lot more insights when it comes to what the system is able to provide us through AI. Of course, this suggested successor is just to provide a perspective to our managers as well. They don't have to agree with the recommendation, but it's rather to provide maybe another view for them to see what kind of nominees may be suitable for this role. So in terms of performance and goals, we are also seeing some SMART being introduced this round for the release. So previously, we know the workflow is pretty static. So whenever workflow and form designs are quite static. So once we have designed the layout, designed the workflow or roadmap for our performance review, that's pretty much the same for everyone that will go through the reviews. But with this release, what will now be available is for us to build business rules for performance review, so that based on certain conditions of our review result, different fields can show up, different roadmap step can also be introduced based on the conditions. So this would be really good for our HR practitioners, because now you don't need to be the one that's manually introducing another step or launching another form just because of a certain rating has been input by the manager. So instead, system can help us to do that. So it's truly moving from HR operations to HR intelligence.
That sounds really, really useful, Jessie. Could a use case be maybe managing underperformance?
Yeah, actually, that would be a really good catch. That would be the perfect scenario, in fact, for using this new feature in performance and goals. Let's say we have a probation review for all the new hires, and we are seeing someone that has been rated as not pass or extension needed. In the past, it's often that the form will get sent to the HR. HR may need to launch another extension form. But this time round, we can actually say the workflow will be updated automatically. So an additional step or more additional step will be introduced for those that doesn't pass the probation or needs an extension. And potentially, maybe we can also just use one form instead of multiple to manage this extension timeline. So I believe for this release, we are also seeing some interesting updates when it comes to talent acquisition. So Siri, could you share a bit more with us for onboarding and recruiting?
Absolutely. So this release, I feel like we're really seeing a trend of trying to automate a lot of the processes that we do in recruiting and onboarding modules. So for instance, they have now made it possible to make the onboarding initiation from recruiting automated. And what this means is that you can now trigger the onboardee as soon as you move them into the correct status, making it a lot easier because you're minimizing the amount of clicks by not having to go in and actually trigger the onboarding. As you know, you have to select that in addition when you move them into the status. So I think this is going to be a lot more efficient in the use of the connection between recruiting and onboarding. We know that this is pretty good already, but even better now, I believe that you can kind of work a lot more efficiently. We're also seeing enhancements again to the onboarding initiation status. So as a lot of you probably know, they've already started working a lot with what you can actually see in recruiting when you initiate the onboarding. Well, now they've provided even more statuses and information that HR can see once they initiate the onboarding without having to go into other modules, which is going to help to also minimize the clicks and manual work that you have to do to have control over the information. Another very exciting thing that I'm seeing this release in onboarding is that it is now going to be possible to automate some of the onboarding tasks, the new hire tasks, that's called. It's going to allow for an automatic completion of tasks like welcome message or the prepare for day one list. So it's reliant on there being information already there, so the standard information. But once the tasks are triggered in the process, you can then automatically complete them. This will, in my opinion, ensure a much more smooth onboarding for the new hires, making sure that they do get all the information before day one, even if someone don't complete their task. But it will also minimize the noise and the tasks and the mandatory blinking for HR and hiring managers that are included in the process. It is also important to note, though, that even if you do choose to turn this feature for automation, you will still be able to have control and make changes in case-by-case scenarios if that's needed. So very excited to see it start to automate and make it more intuitive all across the board in both modules.
It sounds sort of like it's going to automate it for the onboardee and for the hiring manager. So it should make it simpler from both sides. So that's a real win-win.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys. Let's move on to trend 2. So a lot of the insights that we're seeing throughout this release are powered by something we're hearing a lot about, which is artificial intelligence. But what's really exciting this release is how AI shows up. So it's no longer a separate tool, but really built into everyday HR process. So we'll bring up our next trend, which is contextual AI, not just standalone tools. And I'll start with a really good example around this. So in the growth portfolio, which is a module that not a lot of customers have explored just yet, being that it is a newer one. But within growth portfolio, they've brought in AI-assisted skills identification based on resume. It's very similar to the CV parsing tool that they have in recruiting. Employees can upload their CV into the growth portfolio. And from that, it will highlight skills that it identifies within the CV or the resume and matches those to skills that you have in your library. And then it will add them to the employee's portfolio. So it enables the AI to identify skills that the person potentially didn't even know that they had, and populates their portfolio, which is really cool.
That really is. And it doesn't just stop there. It's not just once you have updated your resume, the skill just stuck there. It doesn't go away. But in fact, now with this release for your resume skills, as well as the skills that you have generated during a job application, they can also now flow through to your growth portfolio. What it means is that now for our employee, later on when they start working in our company, they will also be able to track their growth in terms of the skills that they have acquired. So it could be that you have a same set of skill at the time of job application, and then now when you track back, you can see how much improvement you have gotten, and also what sorts of development needs that you may have.
And to jump in there, Jesse, because I really like these changes we see in the career development tool, because we also now see how directly when the employee is looking at what possibilities they have, they will get suggestions, AI suggestions about what activities, and for me as a learning hub, very interesting, learning trainings that they can do to improve their skills, right? So we are kind of being led through this whole process from the very start, and then here they will get recommendations for training they can do right at that moment where they see their possibilities, or they can pin them to their learning walls and take them later. So this really brings the learning module out into the rest of the system, and really giving it much more value to the employees about how they can develop their skills and really improve their possibilities within the company.
I agree, Tobias. It's like connecting the dots when we are using the AI tools as well right now. So same for career development, you will also be able to generate insights for the role that you are currently in. So it's the same like writing emails with ChatGPT. It's not necessary that you always follow what has been generated, but it would be very good for you to gain some maybe perspective in terms of what are the areas that you can improve on, or which are the areas or career path that you may be able to pursue based on the current role that you are in. So I would think right now with all the different updates, it's very supportive with the generative AI to our employees' growth.
So, I mean, that to me sounds really good, because it's helping employees find opportunities within the organization, but it's also helping the organization find employees within their own organization who might want to take a new career path. It's matching skills to requirements.
Agree, Neil. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about those AI insights a little bit later. So, of course, technology is only valuable if it makes people's lives easier. And that's why the next big focus is employee experience. And SAP has some smart usability improvements this release. Going to start with the ones that probably touch most employees. So, Dirk, we've got some platform changes. Want to elaborate?
Yeah, I hope you can hear me. I don't know whether you can see me, but at least the voice is there. Yeah, we have major news there. We have a new people profile and field editing, which definitely makes life easier and simpler in navigation, in data management, and in edit actions. And we have a new homepage experience as well, with the possibility of a more personalized homepage for each individual. We even have more space, because the space is better used now. You don't have this much empty spaces there, so it's less scrolling and clearer navigation there as well. Thing that you have to look at is training material, for example, because it looks quite different. And if you already have existing training material, you usually will have to adapt it to the new version. So everything that is communication regarding employees, something like that, think of that, but it's really good to use it. And another thing, not only platform is new, and as I'm from Germany, this is really a helpful thing for me, honestly, because it's for Netherlands, Mexico, and Germany, and it's a payroll thing. So I don't know whether you always understand what your payroll means to you, except the amount you get paid. If you have any questions in future, and surely I always had ones when I looked at it, you have the possibility to get real-time explanations through the AI. So that's something that's really helpful, and it's new for Germany, Netherlands, and Mexico, as I said. So for me, that's personally, and as a user perspective for users, the three major things from platform and ECP, obviously.
Thanks, Dirk. And talking about pay, maybe we'll move to Vivian. Compensation, what are you seeing from an employee experience perspective?
Yeah, you know, Claire, not much to say from my side, because we always have very minimal release notes on these modules, but at least I see that the latest release continues SAP usability first strategy by refining core planner tools. So basically we have now advanced filtering, moving from executive review to the worksheet itself as well, which allows planners, and when I say planners, it's basically the managers who are involved in the compensation reviews. It's give them basically the ability to work more, to reduce basically the manual effort, and it improves the cycle speed itself as well. And then we also see that in the executive review, we have some enhancement by introducing some custom views aligned with the latest people profile that it was mentioned as well, enabling more personalized and role-relevant decision-making. And we also have the new wrote all forms capability, which is mostly like reduce some pain for the planners by bulk routing all forms in one step basically. I would have loved to see more features, more like functionalities improved in the module itself. I think you would agree with me, Claire, but unfortunately not much to say here.
We hope for more for comp in the next release, Vivian, for your own sake. We do. Jessie, what about over in talent management?
So in talent management, we are also seeing some updates that's very beneficial to our employee experience. So some being that now with AI enabled also for the development module, it's now available for us to use AI to help us to write development goal, as well as some custom learning activities. So I believe many of our HR practitioners, when you start to engage our employee to do goal plan, you may development goals, you may often get asked the question like what kind of goal is considered a development goal. So now maybe you may get less of such questions because employee can actually utilize the AI functionality. So let the system analyze the role that they are currently in, the skills that they have, as well as what are the roles that they are interested. So they will be able to generate a set of relevant development goals, as well as the associating custom learning activities to achieve those goals. So again, as shared earlier, this kind of recommendation or insight provided by the system is not necessarily that our employee have to adopt, but it's in a way to provide a guidance and direction in terms of how you should set development goal, what kind of goals you can set in for your current role. So it's making it much more easy for our employee to use, and also making letting them feel a lot more confidence when it comes to using or adopting, adding development goals in their development plan. And I believe for learning, Tobias, you may also have some update that's relevant to improve our employee experience.
Yeah, thank you, Jessie. So in the learning module, we've seen a lot of changes in the last few releases around the whole learning experience, both from a user side and very important as from a manager side as well. In this release, we're just seeing how SAP is just adjusting the last few things. So one of the things around the manager interface is that it's really given a much cleaner and a much easier way for the managers to work with their team. And in this release, we see how SAP have made it easier for them to reach out to their team if there's any trainings that they have not completed, or to set to align the required dates for training for the whole team at once, really saving the manager some time. And this really supports this change in management, where instead of one central learning organization, it's more pushed out to the whole organization, and empowering managers who are really the one closest to the team to make these decisions and work with it in a more efficient way. So this really going to make it easier for us to recommend this solution and tell the managers to start using this solution even more in the future. So excited about that.
I think
Awesome.
just jumping quickly to say from a user experience point of view, that normally means screen changes and changes to views that people see. It's really, really important to consider the change management aspects of all of that to make sure all documentation and learning materials are as up to date as it can be, to make the experience as good as it can be for everybody.
You're very right, Neil. That really is going to help the managers to take these changes into place, and users, managers, everyone.
Yeah, really good general point, Neil. All right, our next two trends are not really trends of this release, but they're more things to look out for in 2026, and we thought it would be amiss if we didn't talk about them. So the first one I'm going to talk about is workforce scheduling. So time and attendance has long been a gap or an area not covered by SuccessFactors. And obviously over the past couple of years, SAP have introduced time tracking. Now, what will be released in 2026 is their workforce scheduling module. So it's available for early adopters in January 2026 and will be generally available later in 2026. So we assume this release probably next year. Now, what will that module bring? So it will all be around proactive monitoring So being able to quickly react to absences, demand spikes, shift changes. You'll be able to monitor attendance via clock in and clock out, and intelligent scheduling. So demand-based scheduling effectively, and be able to filter based on people's work skills, qualifications, certifications, based on the shift requirements you have. Effectively making sure that you've got the right people at the right time in the right place. And most importantly, and probably the biggest selling point, being one unified process. So having your scheduling in the same place that you're tracking time, in the same place that you're also paying people as well. So again, not part of this release, but it is a trending topic in the SAP space at the moment. So we thought absolutely had to be mentioned.
Very interesting topic, Claire. Did you mention that it's an early adopter program? Is it something you can already sign up for now?
Yeah. So early adopter program starts in January next year. So yes, customers, if interested and have a need in this space, can reach out to their SI or SAP, their account executive, to apply to be part of that early adopter program. So very exciting. Now, on a similar vein, we'll move to our next trend, which is all around next-gen recruiting and the acquisition of smart recruiters. Siri, I know not a lot is known, but what can you tell us so far?
Yeah, so I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this smart recruiters acquisition that has been announced. I do know that this has been an extension that has been possible to connect to for some time before now, but I do believe that with this becoming an official part of SuccessFactors Suite, I think we're going to see like a far smoother transition for companies that are already using recruiting. Now, like you said, Claire, the impact and the timeline for this is very high level still. We have just received drips here and there, but we are hoping to have more information to share with you around December, January, maybe, from what SAP is telling us. So looking forward to that. I think what I'm going to say is that it will give, and it gives a lot of the same functionalities that you see in the recruiting module that is in SuccessFactors today. But the good thing about smart recruiters is that it will give a much more intuitive and automated process than today, because as we know, the recruiting process in the module can be a little bit time consuming and a lot of clicks. And what I do know is that it's going to give you a much more efficient AI tool to help the recruiters for that process. Personally, I'm hoping it's going to minimize the time and the manual work, as I said, for when the need for a new hire arises in the company until a candidate is hired in the system. So that is my personal hope for this new acquisition.
I think clunky is a good word that we use to describe recruiting in SuccessFactors.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Siri. So moving swiftly along to our next trend, which is HR as the orchestrator of business process. So the system, as we've talked about all these release items, it really is around connecting insights and skills and experience across the employee life cycle. Which really does empower HR to lead more strategically. Now, to kick off this particular trend, I think in order for HR to empower and lead more strategically, we need insights, we need reporting, we need intelligence. So Daniel, what do we got?
Yes, Claire. People intelligence is a new analytics solution built on top of SAP Business Data Cloud. It combines data from the SAP SuccessFactors suite and other SAP or third-party applications to provide actionable insights. So the goal is to support informed decisions by consolidating HR and business data into a single model, creating one source of truth. The solution provides ready-to-use interactive dashboards and visualization tools for immediate workforce analysis. It also includes scenario modeling features that let you adapt the model to reflect your organization's specific priorities. AI-driven predictive analytics identifies patterns, anticipates risks such as attrition, and recommends targeted actions for employees and managers. It's worth mentioning that People Intelligence is a standalone tool. It does not replace existing reporting in SuccessFactors. So your daily HR reporting continues through Report Center and Story reports, which remain the primary tools for monitoring current HR processes and system status.
That's great, Daniel. So yeah, no, you're right? Like our transactional reporting remains in our Canvas and our report stories, and this new people intelligence layer is more around that insights and predictive analysis and things like that. I've got another one. I'm just going to sneak it in here because I don't think I said it in my intro, but obviously being Australian, this is a little bit selfish, this particular one, but very exciting that SAP have introduced supporting leave accrual and leave application in weeks, which has long been a compliance back and forth question for long service leave in Australia and the New Zealand Holidays Act. So that is now available from H2. So maybe something to add to the roadmap for customers in Australia and New Zealand around relooking at leave accruals and application with that week's feature. Had to sneak it in.
And for me, oh, sorry.
Oh,
and for me, I also have an item to add on this point. So when it comes to connecting data, like what Daniel has mentioned earlier on the analytics, so for this release, we are also seeing an update available in terms of the calibration module. So calibration is actually like a platform tool. So be it performance review, our succession potential review, or it could be for compensation. These are the modules that may utilize the calibration session. So previously for all the session that is created, the comments, they don't interact with each other. So in case we are having multiple rounds of calibration, we may miss certain comments coming from other sessions of the same type. So now with this release, such a roll-up of comments will be available. So providing HR team more visibility, also better management in terms of the data or insights that's been provided during calibration. So the system will also highlight to you in terms of this roll-up comment, how many of them are actually from other session and how many of them are from this session. So it's much easier for us to identify. So again, for us, it's to providing more business insights, helping it, making it easier for us to provide or have valuable decisions.
It really does sound like it'll help HR move to a strategic planning organization within a company, particularly around the scenario modeling that Daniel talked about. That sounds really useful to play out different ways that the future might look.
Definitely agree. All right, let's go to our last trend. Now, AI has been, if you haven't noticed, a continual theme across this release, and automation is continuing to play a bigger role. Now, it's equally important that we manage all of that responsibly. And SAP continue to strengthen the governance and transparency in the way that these tools are applied. So in our last trend, we talk about ethical AI. And I'm going to kick us off with a couple of examples of this. So the first one is they've enabled some information messages around international data transfers on AI. So when an admin enables AI, it will actually alert them where there is potential links out to international data centers, and it will include the link to where that is located. And that's all starting on that broader effort to support legal and privacy compliance across various regions as we continue to expand AI. Another great one is enabling transactional verification for critical transactions. So for example, bank details. Let's say an employee is updating their bank details. We can actually enable multi-factor authentication so that when they're updating, they have to do that second layer of authentication to make sure that it really is them that's updating that critical information.
And since data privacy is such a big topic now anywhere in the world, I think SAP definitely recognizes this, and they are putting in also a lot more improvement when it comes to permission control as well. So one that I would like to highlight when it comes to talent development would be introducing the nomination history permission now for succession planning. So I do know that for a lot of companies, they find that the nomination history can be quite sensitive. So very often that may be for a new manager, they may not want to disclose the nomination history that's made by the others previously. So what now that would be available is that we can actually control that with a specific permission within managed RVP role. So previously that wasn't the case. So as long as someone is able to plan successor for the position, they will always have a visibility to the nomination history as well. So that is definitely an improvement, especially when it comes to such sensitive data like potential or succession nomination.
I've got one more that I might just chuck in, which is I talked about those AI assisted insights earlier. The other enhancement this release is that they are introducing a section where it will actually tell you what data AI is using to produce that insight. So when the user sees the insight, they'll see the referenced information. And that's all about providing transparency around exactly what AI is looking at to do that for you. So I think that one's quite a good one as well. All right, guys, that brings us to the end of our trends, but I wanted to do one other little trick question for you all. What do we think's missed? What do we wish was there that wasn't? What do we hope for the next release? Don't rush.
Maybe I'll go first because this is actually a request coming from one of our clients, and probably they are here in this webinar also. So take this as a chance to share with you. Yeah. So actually, so this is one of the update that they have requested is to enable integration between interview scheduling tool with our Google Calendar. So I believe right now a lot of organizations not only using Outlook, also using Google Calendars a lot, and it would be quite good for us if that's also integratable with interview scheduling tool. So this update was actually promised for this release, but unfortunately SAP has put on a delay for this. So this could be something that we look forward to for the next releases instead. So instead of this integration with Google Calendar, so SAP actually introduced integration with third-party REST API. So that also provides us some insight in terms of where SAP is at when it comes to developing this new feature.
Thank you, Jessie.
I actually have one as well, if I might. So this one, I know personally, like Jessie says, this one I know a lot of my clients are asking for, but it has not been promised by SAP at all. I'm just throwing it in there to show my clients that I do listen and that I do think that it is possible in some way or another, but it comes to the onboarding and offboarding modules. Of course, that's my area, but as we know, offboarding is a process that is also included in the onboarding module when you go for that. And what I often recommend my clients to go for is the information that you share with the leaver specifically. So usually we put contracts and stuff in the document management part of onboarding, but the leaver documentation is also very important. And a lot of times companies have their checklists on what has been delivered out to the leaver, and that needs needs to be collected in. And I do know that I have a meeting tomorrow to explain alternative routes. But what my clients want and what I would love to see potentially in the future is the possibility to have more of a checklist functionality in the document management part of onboarding and offboarding, where they can be more interactive than they are now, because they are quite good, but I see potential for even better. So if SAP is listening, it's for you. That was it for me.
They were all quite
And
tame guys. Oh, Tobias, you've got one? Go for it.
yeah, I also just one of a release note that once again was supposed to be on this release, but it's going to be pushed once, and this is the integration of the Joule Assistant, which will be integrated with the learning modules. Also something very interesting. Talked a little bit about helping managers, and of course having the Joule Assistant for both users and managers in the future is something that will really help them as well in again just making it easy to control everything and know the status of your team, the compliance status of your team by using an AI assistant. So really hopeful the Joule Assistant is going to be in the learning module in the next release as well.
And generally, maybe just a little bit more in learning and compensation, so that you and Vivian feel like you've got more exciting things to talk about, hey?
We look forward to that, definitely.
I know we've gone a little bit over time. Siri, would you mind just checking the question box? Is there anything that we want to answer here, or we should take them offline afterwards? Just want to give me a quick gauge.
Yeah, so there's not that many questions, but there is one that I do want to answer. That is from Stephen, and it's actually a question that's quite interesting because I answer that a lot when I do my workshops with clients. But is the onboarding available to new hires prior to their start date? Yes. So in terms of how companies would explain, when I go into a workshop with a new client, I usually tell them that in terms of how we think about onboarding module in terms of more of a business case for most businesses across Europe and probably other places as well, is that it should more be called a pre-boarding. So what happens for the onboarding module, it triggers as soon as you've found the correct candidate. So that could be 3 months from start date, that could be 6 months from start date, that could be a week. But absolutely, they do get a lot of good information and details shared before day one.
And learning can be available pre-day one as well with onboarding, and I think that's often forgotten. So chuck that in there as well.
Performance and goals as well. You can give them goals before they start, so they have something to work towards.
Good point. All right, guys, sorry for going a couple of minutes over, but I will wrap it up now. So I just want to thank everyone for joining today. The second half 2025 release is another step forward in SAP's journey towards a more intelligent, connected, and human-centered HR experience. And there's definitely a clear shift from systems that manage processes to platforms that empower people and decisions. If you'd like to learn more about these updates and how they can be applied in your environment, please do reach out. We're always happy to continue the conversation. And per the slide on the screen, our ebook will be published on the 30th of October and will be emailed out to everyone. Want to thank you again for your time, your engagement, your partnership for our customers, and we look forward to seeing you in the next release. Thank you very much.